So guys, after what has felt like ages, we have finally had a return back to competitive VGC, and over the past weekend we had the Utrecht Special Event taken out by Nikhil Reddy. This was a almost 700 player special event, not a regional technically speaking, but still a 658 player Masters tournament, where Nikhil Reddy ended up taking home the tournament win with none other than Articuno. Honestly, this is pretty wild. We will definitely look through a lot of the top teams shortly. We'll also have a look at Nikhil's Twitter as well, as they did drop a the rental code, I believe, and the pace of the team. So we can get a deeper look at it rather than what obviously our friends over here at Victory Road are going to show us. But before we jump into that, I do quickly want to take a look at the usage stats, because I do think it is very, very interesting. Right, we are now officially over halfway through Regulation F, but obviously the metagame continues to develop. And one thing I will say before we take a look at them is obviously take it with a grain of salt, right? Because it is one event, but obviously this is an event where it's our first event really in kind of 2 to 3 weeks. And obviously we've definitely had some development, right? But VGC data here over on Twitter, they have obviously shared the usage stats here that was shown on the stream over day 1 and day 2. As we can see here, day 1, it is honestly nothing too surprising, right? We see Fluttermane at number 1. We see Ogerpon Wellspring at number 2 and Incineroar at number 3. Sporting really between 55 and 40% usage, right? Pretty standard for these three. Obviously, I do think they are the 3 best ones in the format. Raging Bolt kind of sitting here at 4th with just under 30% usage. Again, I'm not surprised. I think Raging Bolt definitely one of the top 5 ones in the format right now. Landorus Incarnate, though, this one is on the rise. Been testing it myself. This one is incredibly good. It just has such a good matchup into a majority of the ones you see here in the top 10. Oh, sorry, top 12. So because of that, I'm not too surprised. Of course, Tornadus, it's the best Tailwind one in the game. Rillaboom, just, one of the best grass types in the game. Honestly, one of the big 3, really. One of the best mons, honestly, into mons like Fluttermane and Ogerpon Wellspring as well, so I'm definitely not surprised to see it so high. Single Strike only at 26% was kind of shocking. Rapid Strike at 25% is also kind of surprising, right? This one, everyone was kind of writing it off, obviously, with how good, the Wellspring form is. Of Ogerpon, this was a mon that was kind of dropping off, but I think, with the Japanese players, kind of showing everyone that, hey, Choice Scarf Urshifu Rapid Strike is still really good, has obviously helped out. Of course, Chen Pao here, another one that loves pairing with the Scarf Rapid Strike. Amoonguss, part of that really good defensive backbone of Incineroar plus Amoonguss. Even paired up with Ogerpon Wellspring as well, they make a fantastic Firewater Grass Core. And let's be honest, Gus is Gus, man. This one's always going to be good, and I'm sure we'll see that in the conversion rate. And then finally, King Gambit actually slipping in at the 12th spot here. It was kind of surprising for me to see it that high, because I feel like a lot of Incineroars lately have even been opting for things like Will-O-Wisp, and because of that, King Gambit is not just the free win, or not free win, but it doesn't just get that free +1 into an SD when it sees the Incineroar, right? Even if you got a good defensive Terror, you can still get burnt, and it just, it's not a great time. Not to mention the Urshifus are still the Urshifus, right? You can't really hit them with Sucker Punches. It doesn't really do that much damage. But in saying that, obviously, it does deal with a lot of the other top ones in the format, right? Ogerpon, Wellspring, and Fluttermane definitely don't want to eat attacks from it. Same with the Genies as well, right? But when we switch over to day 2 here, we actually do see, of course, King Gambit does fall off the list there, in place of Ogerpon Hearthflame here. I actually don't know what else dropped off to make room for the Giraffe. Was it actually a Moongut? Dude, Gus, I didn't realize Gus fell out. That's actually kind of crazy. We're going to have to double check that. I generally thought coming into this event, Gus was actually going to be wild. I thought it'd be 40+%. But we do see here, obviously, Giraffe and Ogerpon here do take spots in the top 12, with Tornadus here actually dropping all the way down to 10%, so from 6 to 12. But the main thing here is Fluttermane drops all the way from 1st down to 6th place. And the crazy thing with that is being the 6th place mon with 41% usage is still actually kind of insane, right? Incineroar reclaims its spot as the king of VGC at 57%. Raging Bolt at 51%, absolutely wild. But I did see a great quote, I think, from Colin over at the Battle Room, basically saying he spoke to one of the Japanese players, I think Yubi Slow, and he asked him for advice on the meta, and the guy's response was simply, Raging Bolt is important, which, let's be honest, that's pretty funny, right? But really, outside of that, the rise of Rillaboom here really kind of taking over as that, arguably the best grass type in the format. We do see a 3-way tie actually at that 3rd place as well, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I can see Rillaboom being so high up. I think Rillaboom plus Incineroar pair incredibly well together. Even with the Ogerpon Wellspring as well, I do think they form a really, really nice core. Not to mention, there's just a decent mon into the Raging Bolt here, especially if you are able to force out the Terror. So because of that, it does pair really well with Fluttermane, because it's a mon that can kind of force out the Terror on the Raging Bolt. Then all of a sudden, if it's a Terra Fairy, Terra Electric, it doesn't want to eat these Wood Hammers in the grassy terrain. And of course, just having Fake Out Pressure is always fantastic. Both Urshis rising up to 35% usage. Again, not surprised. I think they're both good. Chen Pao, another one kind of rising up here. Really, if you look at this list and remove the Incineroar, this mod is just free, right? Like, obviously, it's not great into the Urshifus, but it plays really well with the Urshifus. It's fantastic into Bolt, right? It forces out the Terror. It's fantastic into Lando. It outspeeds and kills it. Really, really good into Rillaboom. Obviously, you can outspeed and one-shot it. Even obviously with things like Fake Out and Grassy Glide, you can, play around it with Protect. You've also obviously got the options as well for, things like Ice Spinner. And then, of course, we kind of touched on these here, but Giraffe kind of popping up here, just really good into the priority, right? It stops the Fake Out, stops the Grassy Glides, also stops the Thunderclaps coming out. Of course, the Sucker Punches and the Aqua Jets as well. And then Ogerpon Hearthflame, honestly, this is a mon that I have been looking at a lot myself. And I think we'll actually see it in the second place team as well. I think Ogerpon Hearthflame plus Rillaboom has such an incredibly good matchup into the metagame. If you compare it with mons like the Landorus and the Fluttermane that can force out Terrors, or, even just, like, threaten one-shots onto the Raging Bolt, all of a sudden, like, this mon at, like, +3, if you ever get, like, the SD plus Terror boost, is absolutely wild, yeah? But anyway, that's just, like, a quick breakdown there of, I guess, the top 12 mons. Well, let's jump back over here and actually have a look at the teams. Let me actually quickly jump on Nikhil's team. I'll pull up his pace first so we can have a proper look at it. So yeah, guys, if you are interested, obviously I'll leave a link to his Twitter, to his Twitter down below, X, whatever you want to call it. There is a rental code for it as well, so if you are someone who's interested in it, there you go, there's the rental code. But of course, he did supply us with a paste as well. So when you look at this team, right, it is super, super interesting, right, because it is a Snow team, right? And again, I feel like I've said this in the past, but Snow to me has been super interesting, right? In a metagame that is so physically orientated, I think having, Snow feels really good, right? Because Ice, technically speaking, offensively looks insanely good, right? If we just pull up the usage stats here again, right? Obviously, Incin, it's fine into Ice types, right? It resists it, right? But Bolt doesn't like Ice types. The Ogerpon Wellspring doesn't like them, especially if they have Freeze Dry. The next three mods don't like it either. Fluttermane doesn't hate it, but it doesn't love it. Urshi Rapid doesn't obviously want to go up against Freeze Dry. Chen Pow's like whatever. And then the other three mods also don't love it. Like Ogerpon has to Terror in front of it, right? So the top, mods in the metagame really, really don't like to, deal with it, yeah? But then again, you look at this, he's actually got the Choice Specs Articuno with Terra Ice, which I think is absolutely insane, right? This mon's special bulk is already really high, so getting it in Snow with the Choice Specs and Terra is absolutely wild. And the funniest thing to me as well is actually Choice Specs Sheer Cold, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know what round it was in, but I'm pretty sure he, like, turn 1, Sheer Colded a Reggie Steel and just removed it from the game, which to me is freaking hilarious, right? But regardless, you got Specs Blizzards, Freeze Dries, Ice Beams. I'm honestly shocked to not see any flying move on this at all, but I get it, right? Just click your, your 4 ice moves. I saw someone, I think it was 45 Mice, said on Twitter. No, it wasn't 45 Mice. What am I saying? It was a Whittle Twin Needle. Said something along the lines of like, this is the moveset you run when you're 10 years old playing through like, Fire Red and Leaf Green or like, Red and Blue for the first time, which I thought was hilarious because I'm not gonna lie, I did the same thing, yeah? I ran through with Blizzard and Ice Beam, like, that big power moves, yeah, you gotta click them. Yeah, obviously I had Fly on there, but he's not as cool as me. Anyway, that we have Screens Ninetale. Ninetale Screens is also really, really interesting because, like, one, this is a one that has a really good matchup into the Urshifus naturally. Obviously, with a lot of defensive investment here, plus the Snow going up, it's really, really good into him. And then obviously Veil is, like, really good into anything that isn't the Urshifus, right? The Urshifus will crit through your Veil. But again, the team has a lot of options into the Urshis, right? Water Urshi does not want to deal with Ogerpon Wellspring. And the best part about it, again, right, is Ogerpon Wellspring behind screens doesn't care as much about the U-turns coming out of a Scarf Urshifu as much as it would without the screens, right? Especially too when you got things like, a Hisuian Arcanine here as well, which, by the way, Hisuian Arcanine won another event. But yeah, I think this is just a really, really cool set here on the Ninetales. Helping Hand and Aurora Veil are fantastic, and the Blizzard Moonblast are just really good. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Encore on this mon, but I do think on a team like this, it is just fantastic to, like, one, you've got a bit of special attack, you fire off these Blizzards, you fire off these Moonblasts, right? Both moves that have very, very good secondary effects. And then, of course, you just got the Veil and the Helping Hand really helping out the team, right? And that's another big thing, right? Like, obviously, I feel like if you've got Ninetales plus Articuno on the board, double Blizzard is probably just better than Helping Hand Blizzard from the Articuno. Maybe I'm wrong, I'd have to check the numbers on that. But definitely, like, helping handing your Bandit Arcanine who's going for E-speeds, or, like, helping hand your jolly Ogerpon Wellspring here, who doesn't really have that much attack investment, is obviously still very, very good. Same with Landorus, right? Landorus is one that loves to get the helping hand boost, even Raging Bolt as well in the Thunderclaps, right? So it is really, really cool. Briefly touched on it here, Hisuian Arcanine playing the Head Smash build, which I do think is very high risk, high reward, but when you hit those Head Smashes, it does kind of slap. But I think it's great to see this mon back on top, right? I think this mon is still incredibly good. It has a really good matchup into a lot of what is good. Rock Stab is just incredible, and really the only ones with good Rock Stabs are like Ogerpon Rock and what's it called? The new Paradox Beast of Terrakion, Iron Boulder. Both really good stabs. The issue is Iron Boulder's got an ass typing, and like, unfortunately for Ogerpon Rock, it's probably the worst of the 4 Ogerpons. But yeah, so I think Hisuian Arcanine does fill that niche as probably the best rock type in the format. Obviously, Ogerpon Wellspring does what it does best, right? It just hits really hard. The bulk on this mon here is good. I'm honestly shocked to see it this low, because I think a lot of people, myself included, did run closer to 100 to help it leave Banded E-Speeds from D-Knight. But I guess Banded E-Speed D-Knight is definitely on the decline. Still, fantastic support. Landorus, just one of the best offensive mons in the metagame. Very, very good into, of course, our good friend Raging Bolt, which is definitely one of the biggest problems in the metagame. I do like seeing a little bit of bulk here, especially with the substitute as well. It is kind of crazy to me to actually see him playing sub, with his only support really being the Ogerpon Wellspring. But look, I get it. Obviously, it's very, very good into Amoonguss, and this mon just pumps out damage. And then, of course, Assault Vest, Raging Bolt. This is just what I would call the very standard set on Raging Bolt at this point. The speed is obviously always going to be up for, you know, debate as to like how fast you actually run this thing. But this thing is just so damn fat with the Assault Vest. And not to mention, Electro Web is just a pretty broken move on a mon like this. I'm not going to lie, I've tested Web, I've tested T-Bolt. At first, I was like, nah, T-Bolt's way better. But after a little bit, I start realizing like, hey, like, there's KOs that T-Bolt doesn't get, so why not just click Electro Webs twice anyway? Because, like, I'm not going to kill you with T-Bolt, so I may as well, like, chip him down and then, you know, hopefully pick up with the second Electro Web anyway. But yeah, look, super cool team here, man. Like, seeing Screen, seeing Snow win, seeing Articuno... Dude, Articuno is, like, my favorite of the birds, but for a very long time, it's always been the worst. So seeing it actually get the dub, for me, is just sick, right? But then we'll look at his opponent's team here. Now, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I feel like I'm just going to butcher it. I absolutely love this team, right? So... the one major thing for me when playing a team like this, because I did test, I think the same 6. I actually, you know, I'm going to double check the builder. Let's see. Okay, so I actually lied. My version was very similar. I had Plot Goldie over the, what I believe was a Specs Fluttermane, right? Icy Wind Fluttermane. Actually, I also had, okay, mine was different. I had Urshi Water over Urshi Dark. But very, very similar, right? I'm not going to take credit. This guy, I think his team definitely better than mine. There's a reason it won. But yeah, I ran something very, very similar. I think it's just a very strong core. The, like, Ogerpon and Rillaboom paired up with Bolt and Landorus just felt really, really good to me in testing. So yeah, I love seeing this team win, right? I do think that the Grassy Glide, the Grassy Glide plus Miracle Seed Rillaboom is also really, really sick. And we kind of know what the rest of the team does, right? Seeing Woodhammer on Ogerpon as well, I think is cool, especially with, Spiky Shield, where you don't have the SD to buff up your damage. Woodhammer is just, like, really good. Without it, you can't really threaten one-shots onto the Urshifus. And then, yeah, Speed Booster Fluttermane, I think, does give the team another mode. And also, like, AV Terror Electric as well on the Raging Bolt is kind of cool as well. Especially, too, because really the only ground types that are running around that are good is, like, Landorus. Like, that's it. Like, the only other ground type I think that is good that is not Landorus I is Landorus T. Like, we just saw Sempra, I forget one of the other players, Justin Tang as well. We're doing, like, really, really good with Bando Lando. But yeah, like, such a, like, it's just a really cool team. Yeah, I love this guy. I think Ogerpon Fire Rillaboom is, like, super underrated right now. So I'm really curious to see how many of them actually, like, you know, I guess really showed up here. Let's have a look here. Ogerpon Fire there. Actually, that's the only one in the top 8. Wow. And then many in the top 16. Okay, there's one more in the top 16 by the looks of it, unless I'm blind. I could just be blind here. But yeah, I think it's actually a really good call that definitely does, I think, deserve to get a bit more play. But then we see Michael Kelch here, Mr. McCulder. What's her name? McCulder. Michael DeBestie or whatever his name is. I feel bad for not remembering it. The dude's a beast. Runner-up at Worlds, obviously. One of the best Rambat players in the world. Arguably the best Pokemon player in the world. Bringing back the Banded Entei here, which is crazy considering no Chen Pao. I honestly did not expect to see this mon get that much success without Chen Pao. But I guess on this team, it fills that fantastic Fire, Water, Grass core with the Ogerpon Wellspring here, as that does kind of take up 2 of the 3 slots. But again, just really good. We see another Raging Bolt here, another Sash Dark Urshi, another, you know, Speed Booster Fluttermane with Icy Wind. Really ahead of my time on this tech, by the way, boys. Been running this for like 9 months at this point, I swear. But yeah, just another really cool team here, right? We do see a lot of standard stuff outside of this Banded Entei. It really does feel like this core 5 here is just like super duper good, right? Like really nice team there by Michael. We see our first Trick Room team. Another really, really good core actually here is that Brian Hands, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, and Giraffe. It just gives you this like really good mode. That also like with a little bit of speed investment can actually be run in the Tailwind as well. I'd be really interested to actually see how fast this team was. Like, I'll have to have a look into it actually afterwards if Ricardo here has actually put out the spreads. But you can run a little bit of speed on Hands and Blood Moon and have them outspeed things that they normally wouldn't, obviously with Tailwind. But of course, you still have a really good Trick Room mode, right? Because like you have the Iron Hands here who's like, hey, I can fake out for the Giraffe. But I can also just like fire off some like fat CCs with like helping hand boosts, right? And the draft as well, like again, I'd be interested to see what the spread here is. But Psychic and Dazzling Gleam is obviously just a great core. We see another Ogerpon Hearthflame here as well, which is just, again, another really good support, I think, for these drafts. Because, like, it allows them to just, like, redirect whatever, whatever they need to, right? And then, obviously, as well, you can kind of just, like, sacrifice off the Ogerpon with Follow Me, just setting up the rest of the team. But, of course, Ogerpon still pumps out damage when paired up with Tornadus. Another Woodhammer as well. Really cool to see 2 of those here in the top 4. But, yeah, just, like, a really cool Trick Room mode here, right? You have this, like, I said it before, but, like, I think Iron Hand's Blood Moon plus Draft is, like, such a good core. Especially when you pair it up with just, like, the offense here, right? Like, you got the bulky Tornadus, of course, Tailwind, Taunt, Rocky Helmet. Good stuff here. Urshi Dark is Urshi Dark. Ogerpon Fire is Ogerpon Fire. Like, it's just a team that deals a lot of damage. They got a lot of special and physical. And yeah, Bright Hands getting a top 4 placement is cool, because I do think this mod is definitely underutilized right now. I think it's just a fantastic mod in general. It has a really, like, decent matchup as well into the Raging Bolt as well, which is, like, really hard to come by, especially, too, when you have a look here and there's, technically 3 Giraffes in the top 4, but there are 4 Giraffes. Sorry, 3 Raging Bolt in the top 4, but there are 4 Giraffes here, obviously, with this one. Once again, we see this Chiyu core. I swear to God, someone always, like, wins the lottery with this team and gets top 8. But it's always just top 8, right? There's always one guy in top 8, right? Stephen Mott got top 8. Not Stephen Mott. What was his name? Was it Stephen Mao or something like that, I think? One of the first guys that did really good with the team. He was top 8. I know, like, I bubbled out a top 16 at Melbourne, but Nick Khan did get top 8 with the team as well. Watched the game. He missed the heat wave that would have got him into the top 4. I haven't watched these games, so I don't know if, like, maybe he missed a move, but I feel like these Chiyu teams always, like, fall in that top 8, which is wild. But look, I've done multiple videos on this team. I've used different variants of it. One major difference I'll say looking at his team versus my team is he was Cloak on his Tornadus, which is something I used to run. Cloak no Protect here. I was Helmet with Protect on my variant. But Sunny Day paired up with Chiyu is just really good. I will say as well, I've done videos on this. If you want to see spreads like in depth on it, go check it out. I'm not going to talk too much on this because I've spoken about this team so much on the channel. I think it's really good. I love Chiyu. Mod's broken, yeah. We see, though, another team here, Amir. I do actually believe in top 8, the Articunos played each other. I'm assuming they built the team together. It is the exact same team. We've already touched on it. But really, really cool, obviously, to see Articuno get top 8 here. And this one here pains me, right? Salvatore, I'm going to say their name is. I apologize. My pronunciation of European names is awful. But we see 222 Dozo getting top 8 in an event. Right? Like, when you think, like, hey, 222 Dozo is done, it's not. It comes back, You see it here. We got that, of course, the Choice Banded Terra Normal D-Knight next to the Chien Pao doing its thing. You got the Choice Specs Fluttermane plus, Choice Scarf Chiyu, which I'm going to say, like, the only time I think you should run Choice Scarf Chiyu is on a team like this. Because on a team like this, you're saying, like, hey, you don't have speed control. Therefore, the most damage I can do turn 1 is just Chiyu Fluttermane, right? I got Terra Fairy, Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam with Beat of Ruin. If you lead a Fake Out mod, I can Terra Ghost and then just, like, hit you with, like, Overheat Moonblast. It does a lot of damage. And then, of course, like, the Helmet Dozo here. I think if you're going to play Don Dozo right now, guys, just play Helmet. It's the best way to play this one. I think, like, the mons that kind of beat you right now are, like, the Urshifus, which, like, don't want to lose their Sashes. Urshi Rapid, obviously doesn't want to take 50%, and if it clicks CC, then it's done anyway. But yeah, dude, 222 Dozo, apparently it's still good, man. It went 11-3. And then Ika, I apologize. I'm going to call him Reki. Reki's team here to round us out as well. Another Incineroar. Actually, kind of wild. Dude, that's our first Incin in the top 8 for a mon that was like, holy shit. Dude, this guy has 60% usage almost, and the only one in the top 8 finished 8th. I'm not blind, right? Dude, that's crazy. Hisuian Arcanine actually had a better showing at this event in terms of high performances than Incin. But yeah, dude, like, you look at this team, right? It's just standard, right? I feel like there's not much to say about it. We see the Flare Blitz here, sorry, the Will-O-Wisp here that I was talking about. Willow, obviously, really good. I think Willow is probably better if you don't run it with Gus, or if you're not running, like, Roaring Moon plus Gus, right? Because the way I kind of look at knockoff myself is, like, if I'm knocking off safety goggles for an Amoonguss, it's fantastic. But realistically, a lot of the time I'm clicking knockoff, like, I'd probably just want to click Parting Shot or Flare Blitz anyway. Like, the way I kind of look at it is, right, you get ones like Fluttermane with Choice Specs, for example, right? And it's like, yeah, I can knock off the Choice Specs. Or I can also just, like, blitz it for, like, 70%, as long as I haven't been intimidated myself or something like that, right? So, a lot of the time I do think just having the Will-O-Wisp is really good, especially into things like the Ogerpon waters, right? You get them to like -1, you burn them. Also really good into like the gouging fires if you ever force their terrors. Same thing with the Urshifus as well, right? You can just go Terror Ghost, burn them. Just like, it feels good, yeah. But the rest of the team, it's just standard, yeah? Like, you know, once again, the Speed Booster Fluttermane's doing its thing here, right? We got the Landorus Incarnate with the, you know, Terra Steel, which, by the way, that is like the hot tech right now. Everyone's going Terra Steel over Terra Poison, so definitely keep that in mind. The better defensive typing, of course. Yeah, just like a pretty standard team there. Dude, this one here, though, by Oliver, man, like, this is why I hate people bubbling in events like this. Like, and again, I don't know the best answer, right? Because my immediate answer would be like, hey, all right, if you have a look at this, 2 11-3s make it, right? 4 don't. Let's just make it top 60. But then all of a sudden people are going to complain and be like, oh, well, you know, like you've got fucking 10 4s make it and then all these guys don't. But to me, I think like having the 4 11-3s miss out is way worse than if you go like top 16 and then like all of a sudden you've got, you know, like 10 4s missing it, right? Big difference. But yeah, we see Oliver here. He bubbles with one of the sickest teams I've actually seen. You look at this, dude, this is saucy, right? I think this is our first Golden Go we've seen, right? It's a Terra Dragon Citrus plot set paired up with screens, right? Which I think screens are good, right? One of the guys at my locals, shout out Tommy Tiger. Tiger Tom, I think it is, sorry. He's been playing screens. It's good, dude. T-Wave's super annoying, man. Like, if you T-Wave something, it's freaking annoying, yeah? And then just, like, look at the rest of the team, right? Like, the Roaring Moon here is Speed Booster with Acro, which... I'm kind of shocked to see Speed Booster plus Acro simply because I think Breaking Spot may be better, especially when you're playing screens. But obviously, look, they're better than me with the team, so I'm sure they know where they got it. SD Waterpawn, I'm a huge fan of SD Waterpawn. It's like, again, the first SD Waterpawn we've seen. AV Doki here, which again, I also think is like super sick. I've been saying for a while, I think this is, if you're not playing a meme strat, this is definitely the best upper hand mon in the format. Obviously, there are things like, you know, I've played with Trico. I know guys like Sableye VGC as well have used Raichu. I think Neil also showcased that Raichu team as well. This is like the only good user of it because this is a mon that is like, one, it's a fighting type, so it actually gets the stab boost. So if it ever hits, that 65 is actually pretty decent. It can't be intimidated. It really likes the Assault Vest because its natural bulk is so damn high. And yeah, it just has really good coverage, right? You can run that high horsepower Drain Punch Gunk Shot and then just upper hand as a last move, which is sick. And then we see the Banded Terror Rock Boulder. Like I was saying just before, like this mon is like, it feels like it should probably be the best rock type in the format, but apparently it's not. Hisuian Arcanine still is. But Banded Mighty Cleave, Breaking Protects is like sick. Having EQ as well next to Roaring Moon. I'm wondering if that's why. Is that like the thought? Like you've got like the Roaring Moon, right, as like your one mon off the ground. That's probably it in hindsight, yeah. But yeah, this is just a sick team here. Like this team is like, this is the kind of team where if you roll up to an event, especially the one thing I think a lot of people don't realize about events here, right, is a lot of it comes down to pre-prepping, yeah, like understanding your matchups into a lot of shit, and that is why I think like best of one closed team sheet, you can run a lot of jank, right, because you catch a lot of people off guard because they haven't seen the matchup, you know, and a lot of like top players will need a game to, you know, to kind of adjust to a really janky team, especially when you're running jank and you're used to the meta and the meta's not used to you. But in saying that, dude, top 16 with this team is actually sick, dude. I love Roaring Moon, you know, I'm a big fan of Iron Boulder as well, so seeing it there is really cool. Victor's team's pretty standard. Yavar here, getting really high up with Whimsicott, actually. Running Snow without an Ice Mon as well, kind of sick. Actually, dude, Life Orb Ninetales? Okay, that's Pog, dude. That is Pog. Offensive Ninetales with Terra Ice Blizzards. That's sick. I'm assuming that's going to be like close to 252 Timid. Of course, you know, we've got the Whimsicott here. Another interesting set as well, running the Light Screen. But in saying that, I do think Light Screen Whimsicott is actually also like really good, especially when you're playing up against things like Fluttermane, right? Because when you think about guys like Archaludon and Alola Ninetales, their physical defense is so high. So having that light screen there as well obviously pairs really, really well with it. Especially too when you got things like Arcanine to, you know, lower the physical damage. So Whimsicott, you know, while it doesn't have dual screens, coming in obviously with the light screen is just good. And I'm curious, Gleam Shadow Ball, this is going to be a special attack booster, right? This is probably the first special attack booster set we've seen. But I'll say it here, guys. Dude, no Moonblast feels so bad. This guy's wild. I can't believe that. But yeah, dude, that's another really sick team. Like, dude, I love Whimsicott. Seeing it get a top 16 actually makes me feel good. Like, I feel really bad for not running Whimsicott, but when I play Tailwind, it's so hard to not justify running Tornadus. This team here, is this a cloak? I just want to see what the item is here. Okay, Helmet Ogerpon. Okay, so it's probably like a bulky support set. Interesting. Another Hisuian Arcanine. Actually, dude, that's another one. Dude, we had five. There was as many Hisuian Arcanines in the top 16 as there was Incineroars. And that's with Incineroar getting 4 placements between 8 and 16. And Hisuian Arcanine getting 3. Dude, that's wild, man. Dude, Hisuian Arcanine stocks are rising. Boys, play Hisuian Arcanine. This guy's good. Like, Hisuian Arcanine is actually good. You know, I might actually... You know, maybe Hisuian Arcanine and Articuno are like... Maybe that's a thumbnail, man. Dude, look at these... Dude, look at Snow. How is there another Snow team here, man? But this time with Chen Powers, the Icemon? Dude, that's sick. And he's running Crash as well, of course, because you got Rillaboom. Dude, bulk up 8 with Aurora Veil, PogChamp, Hisuian Goodra as well here with the Shelter stuff. Another banded Arcanine with Head Smash. Dude, this is sick. Terra Fairy Rilla. Okay, Terra Fairy Rilla. That one's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That one's crazy. But I'm guessing effective. Of course, my guy, you know, we touched on him before. Fire Ogerpon slipping in one more time in the top 16 here. Alex Gomez, dude, he absolutely loves his Volcarona. Great to see him continue doing so well with it. Heatwave plus Terra Blast on Volcarona is kind of wild. Rest of the team is like pretty standard though here. Another Scarf Urshi. I've said it before, guys. I'll say it again. Scarf Urshi Qianpao, play it. It's good, guys. Urshi hasn't dropped off that hard yet. Like play Urshi and play Scarf Urshi Qianpao together. It's really good. Yeah, Incin Rillaboom is also really good. Actually, you know what? I might even check for the top used combos at this event as well. Is there anything else cool here? I mean, I ask anything else cool, dude. Alex here with the sauce, dude. Again, it feels so bad bubbling at 17th here. Because I'm pretty sure this means he doesn't get money. Oh, actually, no. What am I saying? It's a special event. No one gets money for this event. But yeah, dude, like a really good Trick Room mode. Actually, I wonder if the whole team is built around Trick Room. Because, like, being that this is Helmet, not Sash, makes me think it's probably, like, slow, bulky Pelipper. And everyone playing Archeladon anyway isn't running that much speed. I mean, he does have Tailwinds. Like, maybe there's... Yeah, not even... But no Earthquake, Blood Moon. Sorry, on Ursaluna, not Blood Moon. Interesting. But like, yeah, I mean, a pretty cool Trick Room mode here, obviously. Dude, I thought we were gonna get a bit crazy there with like Willow plus like no Flame Orb, but no, we're not that crazy. But yeah, this is a cool team, dude. Archeladon Rain, I think, is really good. Very good into like a lot of the balance stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if we definitely see more Arch pickup coming up. I don't think I showcased this team. I think I put a paste to it in my Discord. But yeah, I think Brady VGC, he put out a pace for this team. So if you guys are interested in go check that out. KD VGC, the homie, yeah, he 22nd, pretty cool. Running the Iron Crown Side Spam here, which is nice. We see another Flutterfish here too, which is cool. I love seeing Flutterfish do well. Sylveon, by the way, working on a Sylveon team right now. It was good to see it do so well. I think this mon is actually like really good. And I think this team is saucy. Oh, sorry, this set in particular. Look at this. Hyper Voice, Mystic Terrain, Quick Attack, Protect. That's wild. Back Caliber, another one here. Boys, play Back Caliber. This guy's good. Terra Bug, I'm not sure if that's good. But look, it definitely works, right? It gives you a resistance to the fighting types, which is pretty nice. Is there anything else cool here before we round it out? Probably not. Dude, sorry, I just lied. Galarian Articuno plus Walking Wake at 35th. That's kind of poggers. Choice Specs Wake as well. Life Orb? Galarian Articuno with Trick Room, man. Dude, Expanding Force, Galarian Articuno. Maybe that's the source. Yeah, look, I think that's it for these teams. I'm gonna quickly pull up the combo stats here. Yeah, dude, Big Clef actually coming in as well, day 2. I'm gonna pull up the combos here, and then we'll take a look at those before we round things out, I think. So, VGC data doing what they do best here. Let's have a look. Do you have combos for me? We don't really need to see Terras. Dude, Fairy to get Terra being the most used is kind of like annoying at this point. I feel like it's been there for ages. Do they not actually have... here it is, usage stats. So, Incin Raging Bolt apparently is the best duo in the game. Or sorry, not the best, but the most used, followed by Fluttermane plus the Ogerpon Wellspring. I'm not kind of surprised by that. Where do Rillaboom and Firepon fit in? They actually... Damn, dude, they don't. Is Firepon... Yeah, of course it's not. It's I was going to say, of course. Its usage stat was probably just not high enough to make it here. Yeah, dude, damn, that kind of sucks, actually. I was hoping we get some source there. But yeah, I guess, guys, shout out to VGC data here. If you don't follow them, go follow them. They put out a lot of good information, right? I think seeing stuff like this is really good as well, especially if you're trying to build cores around certain mons. Like, maybe there's, like, some core you think's good. And yeah, you can kind of come here, check it out, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, look, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. I've been rambling on long enough. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, obviously, let me know down below. You know, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel. And, of course, let me know what teams you think were, like, super interesting down below. And, yeah, hopefully, going forward, we've got a few more VGC events we can cover. Because I do love covering the regionals, man. Looking at the stats for this stuff, I think, is really, really cool. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.